Hey everybody, welcome to 5 Ships for Working with and Not Against the Creative Mind, a masterclass presented to you by Yoga for the Creative Mind. Remember the old Apple commercial? Think differently. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. If you see things differently, then you are in the right place. So, who is this for? Creative types, artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, and creative types who struggle with structure, motivation, and consistency. Sensitive types, creative people who are hindered by extreme sensitivity. And really anyone who seeks to understand themselves, their nervous system, and their place in the world a little better. Others can benefit are people who are looking for effective natural approaches to mental health. So if you're taking medication for distraction, focus, anxiety, depression, or mood disorders, this masterclass can be very helpful to you as well. And I'm going to make you 2 promises today. Number one, everything I teach you today is grounded in yoga philosophy and practice and in alignment with yoga principles. And number two, there is nothing for sale today. I just want to share with you the way yoga has helped me as a person with a creative mind live a productive, happy life without medication and overcome the many obstacles that stood and still stand, of course, in my way. So let's start with a quote. The longest journey begins with a single step. This is obvious on the surface. Of course, a long journey begins with a single step. But it's more important for people with creative minds because people with creative minds have the ability to see the big picture, see, dream big, see original things, look at things differently. But what they have a hard time with is taking the first step, taking the baby steps that help them get to the promised land. So in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to show you how to unlock your gifts and abilities without getting overwhelmed and anxious. I'm going to show you how to improve focus, direction, and mental clarity without medication. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to show you the real reason you procrastinate, are a perfectionist, and mismanage time. And I'm going to show you the source of emotional and inner peace and how it can counter extreme feelings and sensitivities. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to show you tools that create a holistic, comprehensive, and soulful approach to understanding your nervous system so that you can be yourself and accomplish your goals without a lot of therapy or medication. So, why should you keep listening? Number one, I know who you are because I am you. I spent many years in a mental fog, unable to focus, procrastinating my life away, waiting for everything to be perfect to live up to my potential. Yoga helped me regain focus and direction and live a great life. And I know what can help. Since I was 16, I have studied yoga and have distilled the practices that are most helpful for the creative mind and promise to share those with you. And as a bonus, if you listen to the end, you will receive the free ebook, 3 Quick Ways to Soothe the Creative Mind. These are very simple exercises that when the mind gets distracted, out of focus, can't see clearly, these exercises will bring you right back to yourself and to clarity. So stick around. You'll really enjoy this free ebook. So let me introduce myself. My name is Sue Ellen Stringer-Hye. I am the founder of Yoga for the Creative Mind. And I want to share focus, motivation, and time management techniques that took me a lifetime to learn. I'm also a lifelong student of yoga. I have studied at the BKS Iyengar Institute in Pune, India, as well as with countless teachers in and out of the yoga tradition. And I throw this last one in here. I have had a long, distinguished academic career, but the only reason that is important is because it was really yoga that allowed me to stay focused, deal with my sensitivities, deal with all of the obstacles that the creative mind throws up to operate in the world. And I don't think I would have been able to have the long, creative, interesting career that I had without having done yoga for so many years. So, do you feel frustrated you have so many skills and talents but can't make them work for you? Do you wonder why other people have seemingly such an easy time accomplishing mundane tasks? Do you see the big picture but have a hard time figuring out how to get there? Are you free spirited, kind, and a good listener, but get your feelings hurt too easily? Do you have great ideas, but can't seem to find the time to accomplish them? Do you start the day with great intentions, but end up disappointed in how little you actually get accomplished? Do you constantly lose your keys? Oh, sorry, that might just be me. So maybe you've been beating yourself up because you can't get organized. You can't get on the clock or calendar. You can't get your bills paid on time. You can't find a job that suits you. You can't stay focused. You can't get a routine. You can't use your creativity to your advantage. Or, like me, can't keep track of your keys. If any of this sounds like you are not alone. Research shows that creative minds actually see the world differently than other people. Their brains are wired differently. Some of it has to do with selective attention. Selective attention is the idea that our minds can only pay attention to X amount of things. And depending on the way your mind is configured and your orientation to life, you might see things very differently than other people. You can see in this picture, the tree is seeing the stool while the artists are seeing the skull. It all depends on what you see. Back to Steve Jobs, creativity is just connecting things. When you ask creative people how they did something, they feel a little guilty because they didn't really do it. They just saw something. It seemed obvious to them after a while. That's because they were able to connect experiences they've had and synthesize new things. This is the characteristic of the creative mind, the ability to pull random things together to create original new thought, to look at things from a perspective that other people don't look at things from. These are great strengths. But the truth is, sometimes we just need to see things the same way other people do. If you want to stop beating yourself up about all the things you can't manage to do and live life on your own terms, you have to stop working against your brain type and learn how to work with it. The old way, you can keep waffling between feeling good about yourself and your talents and hating yourself for not being able to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Or the new way, see yourself in a different life and live a relaxed, happy, fulfilled life on your own terms. Here are the 5 shifts to working with and not against your creative mind. In order to change your life, you need to change the way you look at your life. If you do, you will connect with your true self and start living the life you know you can. You will learn to trust yourself so you can make decisions more easily. You will manage your time so that you can control what you accomplish. You will control your distractions, and you will live life with purpose, meaning, and passion. Shift number 1, appreciate what you are. I am a creative minded person. That doesn't necessarily mean that I am an artist, a musician. My talents are eclectic and come in a lot of different ways. But by nature, there are many types of personality tests. And Myers-Briggs is one that you've probably heard of. And these are characteristics of people who have a creative minded approach to life. They prefer exploring new ways of doing things. They take more risks than the average person. They challenge the status quo. They want to try new things. They delight in solving problems. They prefer to research and continuously learn new things over implementing routines. Or another personality test that's very popular right now, the Enneagram: imaginative and creative deep thinking, sensitivity and understanding of others' feelings. There are many personality types that fall under the categories of creative mindedness. And there are many pathologies that are often associated with creative mindedness: ADD, ADHD, HSP. There are several different pathologies and personality types that fall under the umbrella of the creative mind. So you know this about yourself. These are characteristics of the way you are. But did you know that this flexibility of thought, this ability to make connections, the way the brain engages neural networks, this is unique to the creative mind? It's all about brain wiring. And I'm not going to go into the neuroscience of it. It's complicated and preliminary, and it's not been fully understood. But more and more scientists are starting to feel like this is a unique brain wiring that is part of this way in which your mind works. So shift number 2, you have to stop blaming yourself for what you're not, because it's all about brain wiring. Because creative types, as much as they have all of the positive characteristics we talked about in the earlier slides, they also have what might be considered negative characteristics, such as high energy and restlessness. You might take on or start too many projects. You might lose interest easily in things and be highly impatient. You often fail to follow through. You forget appointments. You hyperfocus and you're not easily able to break out of it when you need to. You see everything at once globally. And so you see so many possibilities that it's hard to make a decision. And the one characteristic of this mind is that it tends to criticize itself constantly. Why? Because a creative person feels really excited that you have skills and talents and gifts and possibilities. You love adventure. You love being in the zone. Your rewards are intrinsic to you. And daily life, you look at daily life and you wonder why other people have it such an easy time accomplishing mundane tasks, doing things for external rewards that just don't mean that much to you. This can lead to depression. The world can seem colorless and lifeless. You can't find a foothold in anything you do. Everything seems boring. It can lead to anxiety. Everyday tasks are overwhelming. You panic about how you are going to find the right job. You're afraid of failure. And self-doubt. You know you have so much to offer, but no one seems to understand what you are up against. There must be something wrong with you. It just doesn't have to be this way. You can look at things differently. And by looking at things differently, you can turn your life in the direction of happiness, success, and fulfillment. But in order to do this, you have to understand your nervous system and how it operates and how it works. Everyone remembers the story of the princess and the pea. The princess feels the pea through multiple layers of mattresses, and she gets selected because she is the most sensitive. This is a good thing. The truly creative mind in any field is no more than this, a human creature born abnormally, inhumanly sensitive. But because of this sensitivity, you might have developed trauma responses to constant external criticism, to early rejection, to being accused of willfully resisting obligations, of procrastination resulting in failure, other people's impatience with your lack of punctuality or your lack of being on the calendar or your lack of being able to accomplish what to them seems like routine, mundane tasks. And you might end up frustrated with the inability to accomplish what to others seems so simple. And people are often also jealous of your talents. These can set up patterns of behavior, which sometimes called samskaras. And they are patterns of behavior, thought, and movement that our unconscious mind develops to keep us safe. We don't even know they are there, but they can be harmful, survival patterns. And these patterns develop so that our nervous system feels safe and protected from these traumas. But they can exist on any layer of the body, the physical, mental, or emotional body. They block the energy from flowing through the system properly, and they can cause us to self-sabotage and do things that undermine our ability to accomplish what we know is in our power and in our makeup to do. So shift number 4, you have to holistically approach your issues rather than stabbing at the symptoms. Depression, anxiety, the inability to focus, the lack of purpose, take a lot of medication, go to therapy, self-medicate through substance abuse, or just avoid it altogether and climb into a box so that you don't have to go out. The problem with this is, number one, medication and therapy can be expensive, even though I'm not saying that they aren't both extremely useful. There's many lives, many creative lives that have been saved through good therapists, good psychopharmaceuticals, good help in all of those ways. So if you're currently in therapy or using medication, or you still need to use therapy and medication, this is in no way a interest in turning you away from that. But it's true that both of those can be expensive and they're not always easy to come by. And sometimes it's hard for therapists who aren't themselves creative minded to understand all of the issues that you're really up against. Self-medicating is a very common way that creative minds try to address their sensitivities and the traumas that are associated with those. And I think everyone knows that self-medicating has a huge cost, end up in addiction and other ways in which this can be harmful to you. And ineffective. Avoiding things by social media, binge watching, and hoping that your problems will all go away just dig you deeper and deeper into a hole. So what you can do instead is tune into yoga. There are postures, breathing techniques, meditations, and mindset exercises designed specifically for the creative mind. Yoga allows you to come into balance. The ancient system of yoga has, over many centuries, developed an understanding of the human embodiment that is sophisticated and has provided us tools to restore balance to the nervous system. When we think of yoga classes, we usually think of yoga for the body, which it is. Postures are very important for the creative mind as well, because they create structure in your body. A regular practice creates a routine that is not mundane and boring, and it builds strength and flexibility that can help build confidence. But yoga for the body is not enough. You also need yoga for the breath. Breath is a very important part of the creative mind. It brings oxygen to the brain and the nervous system. It connects us to the deeper layers of the bodies, and it helps dissolve tension and blockages in the nervous system. And then we need yoga for the mind. Yoga for the mind engages the mind in creative, playful activity. The creative mind needs to be in play. It needs to be creating. It needs to be looking at things from new perspectives. So just a routine approach to yoga doesn't actually activate that. And yoga for the mind settles the mind into the body. And so it's not just able to have rampant thoughts and run in every direction. It settles it into the body, and that calms it and soothes it, and therefore slowing down thought processes. So it's these three approaches: yoga for the body, yoga for the breath, and yoga for the mind together that allow the nervous system to settle down into itself and allow the creative mind to accomplish in the world what it easily dreams of. Because what the yogis taught us is that we have energy centers throughout our body that we use to regulate the nervous system. And when these energy centers are in balance and harmonious, then the nervous system can relax into itself and be regulated. And this can have a profound and transformative effect on our lives. There are 8 limbs of yoga. It's an ancient art and science of body, mind, and soul. We tend to think of yoga for the body and even for the breath, but really it is a much more complex philosophical and spiritual system. But most importantly, it is a practical system. You don't need to believe anything to get the benefits of yoga because it is a very practical system. These days, neuroscience talks about neuroplasticity. And all this really means is that your nervous system can heal itself through practices that allow it to stop responding in a traumatic way to things that have burdened it, hurt it, injured it, and start responding in a more healthy and equalized way. So shift numbers 5, stop trying to do it alone. This is not an easy process. And we aren't given many tools or information about how to do this. So you don't have to figure this all out by yourself. You don't have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You don't have to get real. You don't have to just do it. It is a systematic approach that can help you heal your nervous system. It's okay to get help. No one has to go it alone. So maybe you're skeptical that yoga can actually help you deal with things that seem mental, that seem really difficult to address with what we often think of as a yoga practice. And you probably should be a little skeptical. None of this is easy. It takes a belief in yourself and a willingness to start seeing things in a new way. It takes dedication and commitment and a desire for a better, more fulfilling life. You have to unlearn things you've learned. You have to let go of trying to solve the puzzle all by yourself. But I'll tell you what doesn't work, because I have tried all these myself. I've tried to fit in to the way other people operate. I've tried to work by other people's rules, what people think you should do. And I've also tried to ignore the situation, just hoping it would go away. Wonder, why am I self-sabotaging? Why am I doing these things to myself? And just thinking, if I just stop being dumb, it'll all go away. So today I promise to show you how yoga can unlock your gifts and abilities without getting overwhelmed and anxious. Today I promise to show you how yoga can help to improve focus, direction, and mental clarity. And I promise to show you why you procrastinate, why you're a perfectionist and mismanage time, and the source of emotional and inner peace and how you can help manage a sensitive nature. I promise to show you tools that create a holistic approach to understanding your nervous system so that you can be yourself and accomplish your goals without a lot of therapy. So, are you ready to appreciate yourself for who you are, to stop blaming yourself for what you're not, to understand your own unique nervous system and holistically approach your issues, and not to feel like you have to go it all alone? Are you ready to stop working against yourself? In this cartoon, you can see that the teacher is saying, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. You don't have to take the same exam. You can take your own exam and still succeed. Are you ready to transform into the being that you know you are meant to be? So now you have a choice. You can keep beating yourself up, spending thousands of dollars on therapy and medication, or just trying to tough it out. Or you can become the person you are meant to be, live your creative self, and accomplish your dreams. How can I help you? I have set aside some time in the next week to talk to you about how you can employ these strategies to start living life on your own terms, and it's totally free. On the call, I'll listen and learn about the challenges you face and help you come up with a systematic and tailored approach to help you understand your particular neurotype and how best to approach your healing. On the call, I'll outline for you a strategy to start taking back your life and set the foundation for a lifetime of fulfillment. So, who is this for? If you are 100% committed to learning about yourself, changing the way you see yourself and the world, and are dedicated to succeeding in life on your own terms, you must truly believe that you have valuable talents and skills to offer and can lead a happier, more fulfilling life. If you don't, then this is really not for you. But if you do, I am doing this because I have seen so many wonderful, talented people in my life, in my family, in the creative world, burdened by the shadow side of the creative mind. Yoga has helped me overcome all of these obstacles, and I want to share what I have learned with you and with anyone who is a creative minded person frustrated by their ability to turn that creativity into something that actually works for them. So, if you're really ready to start changing your life for the better, go to www.yogaforcreativepeople.com/apply and fill out an application form there and book a call. Talk to us. So the spaces are limited, which makes a lot of sense given the fact that there are so many people on this webinar right now. There's just only so many spaces that we have to talk. So apply soon. And you're the kind of person I know that really knows that it's going to take a lot to get where you want to go. You know that it takes work, that it's going to take emotional change and growth, that it's going to be a commitment. And you know that you need someone in your corner to turn your life around, to be able to live the life on your own terms that you know you were meant to live. So again, www.yogaforcreativepeople.com/apply.